I've killed a hell of a lot of people to get to this point. But I have only one more.
Sometimes you need your protagonist to hit rock bottom, to fail so completely that the audience feels like they have absolutely no way out. And what better way to do that than dumping them into a coffin, nailing it shut, and then leaving them to die underneath 6 feet of dirt. But of course, if you're Quentin Tarantino, you don't just stick with the negatives. You find a way to induce the entire spectrum of reactions, from bated breath all the way up to laughter, and then to the wide eyes of shock. Which brings me back to Kill Bill, this time Volume 2, where the bride now aims to take down the Sidewinder, Bud, the third name on her list of revenge. This time though, her target had already prepared for her attack, and despite the bride's sneaky tactics, he drops her down to her lowest point since she started this whole vengeful quest. And after a bit of spit play, Tarantino sets up the next scene with a quote, a vague directive telling Bud how to deal with the bride.
She must suffer to her last breath.
So we now understand what Bud plans to do.
That, darling,
giving him a goal that informs his actions in the following scene.
I can pretty much damn well guarantee.
And it's here that we get to see Tarantino really flex his writing muscles.
You know, I did 11 Shakespearean plays, and that guy writes pretty good too. Quentin is top of the heap for me.
The film then establishes a new setting, initiating a scene with an even darker tone by cutting to black and then playing a deep, ominous note, pairing it with an image of the full moon. Now cutting to the bride, we see her unconscious before slowly revealing the depths of her capture, her hands and feet bound by ropes, and we begin to hear quiet country music alongside subtle metallic patting sounds and animal noises. Through all of this though, we only experience what she does, unable to see the producers of these sounds, compounding a sense of confusion and fear by only revealing one piece of information from the environment around the bride. The aspect ratio in these shots reinforces these feelings, cutting off the sides and making the image more narrow. Trapped. Once the bride begins coughing, however, we hear the sound of footsteps, which grows until the loud metallic recoil of a chain interrupts it. A feeling of danger and confusion that only becomes more intense with close-ups that continue to hide the surrounding environment. We see a hand but no arm or face, giving us enough information to make the moment feel frightening, but not enough to create a sense of clarity. We're desperate to figure out what's happening, and Tarantino captures that intense desire with an extreme close-up on the bride's face. And this short sequence of shots ends with the reveal of Bud looking down at the bride, and by proxy, us, using a shot of the bride's point of view.
Wakey, wakey. Eggs and bakey.
Bud maintains this position of power as he pulls the bride out of the truck, and as her world opens, so does ours, increasing the frame and revealing the environment that surrounds her. We then see where the earlier sounds came from, as the bride turns to a grave being excavated. But Tarantino doesn't simply stick with the scene's initially dark tone. Instead, he incorporates humor by withholding more information, revealing that a person has dug himself so deep into the hole that he can't get out.
Get me out of this hole!
And if the introduction to this character didn't feel exaggerated enough, once Bud pulls him out of the grave, he continues talking, each word painting a clearer picture of his personality.
Oh, look at those eyes. This bitch is furious. White women call this the silent treatment. And we let them think we don't like it.
And then we get another example of Tarantino's versatility, his use of multiple elements, not just dialogue, to illustrate his ideas. You see, Tarantino manages to capture his character's unique essence in even the briefest of moments, emphasizing the qualities that set them apart by using efficient but powerful visuals. So when the bride struggles against Bud as he tries to grab her, Bud forcefully thrusts a can of mace in front of the bride's eye, the shot separating his arm from the rest of his body, making its sudden appearance in the frame even more jarring. With the threat now pressed comically close to her, I mean, just look at that, Tarantino allows Bud's dialogue to further reveal his personality, his playfulness, how friendly he talks despite holding such an imposing, threatening position.
Whippoorwill. You see this? You see it, don't you?
The sound of his voice and the words he says contrast with the danger of his actions. He acts so normally, so casually, despite doing something very much not normal. As he calmly explains her situation,
That's a can of mace.
we see an extreme close-up of the bride's eye and the danger just a centimeter in front of it, intensifying the moment to a comical degree, reinforcing the exaggerated tone of these movies. But Bud continues talking down on the bride, maintaining his conversational demeanor that contrasts with his actions and makes him come across as psychopathic. Before continuing to bury her alive, though,
I want to bury you.
he slows down the momentum, taking breaths, introducing some display of compassion, and offers to give her a flashlight,
It is.
only to return to his violence.
But if you're gonna act like a horse's ass, I'm gonna spray this whole goddamn can right in your eyeballs.
And the way he says
Right in your eyeballs.
cracks me up every time. His eyelids don't even raise when he says this. Despite elevating his voice, it doesn't feel like he has any emotion at this moment. No anger or sadness, just a matter-of-fact declaration of what he'll do if she continues to resist.
Then you're gonna be blind. Burning. And buried alive.
And he concludes his speech with another example of his insincere compassion, giving the bride a real but ultimately condescending choice between the mace and the flashlight, offering to help her, but not really.
Now what's it gonna be, sister?
After she makes the obvious choice, we get another extreme close-up of the bride's eyes, and then Bud's eyes, reinvigorating the scene with intensity, compounded even further by the bride's extreme breathing. The music, though, seems to contradict the visuals, adding a softer tone that, to me, makes the moment feel a bit calmer, removing the struggle as if the bride has to experience this, like a sort of rite of passage. Inevitable. And as Bud closes the coffin, we see from the bride's perspective, and the entire screen turns black, the music now flowing into more percussive, dramatic sounds. It then transitions into a high-pitched whistle that blends with the harsh thumping of Bud nailing the coffin shut, clearly transforming the scene's tone into one much darker. Tarantino again exaggerates the intensity of the moment with extreme close-ups, this time of the nails and of the bride's eye as it loses access to the light outside. With the volume and echo, each strike of the hammer feels tangible, drawing out this failure from the bride, how trapped she's becoming, reinforcing that this is her lowest point. And we join her inside the coffin as it closes completely, the camera right next to her as the last bit of light vanishes. With nothing left to see, we then hear her panicking, and then the rumbling of dirt piling on top of the coffin, as Bud finishes burying her alive.